Your marriage is on the rocks, and it's hard to imagine that things are going to get any better. But that still doesn't make it easy to leave. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make the difficult decision of whether to get divorced or stay married. And stay tuned to the end, where I'm going to tell you exactly what to do if you decide to stay together. Hi, I'm Valerie, and welcome to my channel. As a couples therapist and a relationship expert, I've been helping couples fix their marriages for over 10 years. And if you are ready to stop fighting and start communicating, you are in the right place. Make sure that you grab my free Stop Fighting checklist. The link's in the video description below. Today, I'm talking about how to decide whether or not to get divorced or to stay married. But first, a quick disclaimer. While I am a licensed therapist, I am not your therapist, and this video is for educational purposes only. Deciding whether or not to get divorced is an incredibly difficult decision. In fact, it might be one of the hardest decisions you'll ever have to make. And if you're in this position, I am so sorry. I know how tough that is. But I also want to make this decision a little bit easier for you. If you are struggling with the decision of whether or not to get divorced or stay married, you need to answer these 5 questions. Question number 1, how did I get here and what went wrong in our marriage? This is the first question that I need you to answer. If you're struggling with the decision of whether or not to stay married or get divorced, it's incredibly important that you answer this question and that you figure out what went wrong and how you got to this place. Most of us don't get married assuming that we're going to get divorced in the future. So something happened in your relationship, something went sideways, something went wrong. The first question you need to answer is, what happened? What went wrong in our marriage? Question number 2, what role do I play in creating the problems in my marriage? This is a difficult question to answer, I get it. When we are deciding whether or not to stay married or get divorced, most of us focus on our partners. We focus on our partners and what we think that they're doing wrong. But I want you to flip it. I want you to ask yourself, what am I doing? How am I contributing to the challenges in my relationship? It's really, really important when you're answering the question, do I stay married or do I get divorced, that you take accountability for your role. So take some time and really reflect on how you're showing up in your relationship and how you're contributing to these problems and these challenges. Question number 3, what, if anything, am I willing to change about myself and how I am showing up in this relationship? This is a really important question to think about. If you are unhappy in your marriage, if things need to change, it's really important that you step back and you be honest with yourself about what you are willing to change. I know there is a ton of things that you want your partner to change, but right now I'm asking you to think about what you are willing to change. Be honest with yourselves. Is there anything that you're willing to change about yourself and how you are showing up? This is an incredibly important question to answer, because if you want something to be different in your marriage, you're probably going to have to make some changes too. Question number 4, what do I need from a marriage or a partnership? When you are deciding whether or not to stay married or get divorced, it's really important to think about your needs. What do you envision for marriage? What's the role of marriage? What is its purpose? And what do you need to be happy? There may be some things that you need to fix or change about yourself in order to be happy. And there may be some things that you really need from your partner. It's important to distinguish the two and separate those two out. So in this question, I'm really, really challenging you to think about your needs as a person and your needs as a spouse. Write them down. Write those needs down. And really get specific and concrete about what it takes to make you happy. Question number 5, on a scale of 0 to 10, how committed am I to making this relationship work? In this question, I'm asking you to consider your commitment to change and your commitment to this relationship. If you are a 0, meaning you have no commitment to making this relationship work, well, you've answered that question for yourself. Most of us fall on the scale somewhere in between. So when you're deciding whether or not to stay married or get divorced, ask yourself about your commitment. And once you find your number, take that into consideration. If you have a very low number, if you are not very committed to making this marriage work, it's going to be really hard to salvage it. But on the other hand, if you have a very high number, it's going to be much easier and much more hopeful to fix the problems in your relationship. So take some time and ask yourself about your commitment. And once you get your number, ask yourselves, what is it going to take for me to move one step higher on that scale? So if you're a 5, what is it going to take to move you to a 6? If you're a 3.5, what is it going to take to move you to a 4.5 on that commitment scale? Really think about your level of commitment and what's getting in the way of being committed to this relationship. So, quick recap. If you are struggling with the decision of whether or not to stay married or get divorced, I want you to answer these 5 questions. Question number 1, how did I get here and what went wrong in my marriage? Question number 2, what role do I play in creating the problems in my relationship? Question number 3, what changes, if any, am I willing to make about myself and how I show up in my marriage? Question number 4, what do I need from a marriage and a partnership? And question number 5, on a scale of 0 to 10, how committed am I to making this relationship work? Once you have answered these 5 questions for yourself, talk to your spouse. Whether or not you have decided to stay married or to get divorced, it's really, really important that you have a frank and kind discussion with your partner about where you're at. So if you've decided to stay married, take the time to really talk to your partner about your answers to these questions. When you're talking to your partner, make sure that you're talking about yourself. Talk about how you see things in the marriage, knowing they might see things a little bit differently. Talk about what you want to change about yourself. Talk about how you have shown up in this relationship and explain to them all the different things that you want to change about your marriage and yourself in order to make things better. Once you've had a chance to talk about your role in creating the problems in your marriage and your needs, then invite your spouse to answer these same 5 questions. This is a great starting point if you need things to change and you want to fix your marriage for the better. If you are struggling with the decision of whether to stay married or get divorced, discernment counseling might be right for you. Discernment counseling is a unique type of counseling that is specifically designed to help you gain clarity and make the right decision about your marriage for yourself and your family. If you want to know more about discernment counseling, check out my website. The link's below. Thank you for watching my video on how to decide whether or not to get divorced or to stay married. I hope you found this video helpful and I hope you share it with your partner. And please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and drop me a comment below. I want to know what your biggest struggle in your relationship is and how I can help you fix it. I'll talk to you soon.